Big Blue Nation, welcome back to another episode of the Bluegrass Breakdown. Got an early morning episode rolling. It's 9 a.m. We should be used to it by now, man. We're college kids, but
You
waking
would
up
think.
this early is still, oof,
I haven't
it's,
had breakfast. I haven't had my shower. I haven't had my post wake up nap. It's tough.
hey man, it's okay. It's never too early, never too late to talk
You're right.
about
You're
some
right.
Kentucky basketball. So, you know what? We have a very busy Friday. We're 2 weeks into the transfer portal for football. We saw two women's basketball games in this past week. We have had a buzzer beater. We got player interviews today. I mean, it doesn't stop, but we love it. And I think a moment that has finally brought the entire fan base together was the Malachi Miracle. That's what they're
Mm,
calling it. Hardest moment name I've heard in a while.
it's tough.
Um,
It was one of
if
the hardest moments to create.
Long throw in, caught by Marino, the jumper, got it! The Cats come back to win it!
We got to see if that was good. That's the home run play right there, Dave. That's exactly what we were just talking about.
Malachi Marino, the freshman, a catch and shoot.
Yeah, I think unless you've been living under a rock, you heard that Malachi hit a buzzer beater to secure Kentucky's win over LSU. Colin Chandler threw a Hail Mary pass
Beautiful.
up
Looked
to
like Tom
Moreno.
Brady.
I mean, there's a Pat McAfee clip of him talking about it. And he's like, that looked like a perfect spiral. I don't know if there's like, the NFL draft's already loaded with QB talent, but maybe they'll have to call Colin Chandler. Um, but man, Moreno caught that, set his feet perfectly, spun around, got set in 1.4 seconds, and just drained it.
It looked like he did the Kevin Durant drill that he does
Yeah,
pregame. The catch, spin on one foot, mid range, and it
that's
worked.
exactly what it looked like. But I mean, oh God, talking about before that though, the first 20 minutes of that game was not pretty at all. Kentucky played easily one of its worst halves of basketball of the season. I even asked a couple of people, I was like, maybe all time. Like, I haven't watched Kentucky basketball forever, like, before I was born, but that was pretty bad. They shot
Definitely.
26% from the field, 16% from deep. Only two highest scores in the team were Yelovich and Otaya, who only had 6 point each. They were trailing by 16 at half, only posted 22 points as a team. Um, yeah, Sutton on LSU. I mean, 14 points to Kentucky's 22 as a team in the first half. So, I mean, what did you see in that first 20 minutes, and what did you see in the second 20 minutes is obviously
There was,
different.
there was no sense of urgency that first half. The guys did not look that like they were playing on the same team. I feel like maybe the throw in of Yelovich right there, that maybe threw it off because Yelovich, hasn't played that many consistent minutes throughout the
Yeah,
season. So it was kind of a figure it out first half. And that's being generous because of how poorly it was. The shooting is no different. We're used to seeing terrible beyond the arc shooting from them. But the second half, they really cleaned it up and forced me to get back engaged in the game because I know a lot of I got some calls on my phone that was like, "Do you want to watch anything else on TV? This is horrible." And I almost turned off the TV to be so real. The only thing that was keeping me involved was this podcast, and I have to talk about it later on. But
true.
the
I
second,
mean,
yeah,
but I was just saying, like you mentioning Cam and Yelovich coming into the starting lineup. I think that was maybe the goal is to get those shooters in there, get people who can stretch the floor a little bit. I've seen Yelovich; she can make that little jumper,
hmm
but it didn't show in the first half. Second half, I thought maybe there was a new fire that we hadn't seen yet. And obviously, I know there's a lot of people who are like, they shouldn't have even been in that situation with LSU. They're winless in the SEC,
hmm
yada, yada. Kentucky's figuring it out and they're
yes,
trying to. I think the fact they went on an 18-point comeback like it was
that,
nothing, and I'm just kept their foot on the gas pedal no matter what. Because LSU was really there was a little span I know I wrote in my gamer where it was like LSU made a jumper, Otega made a three. LSU made a three. Otega made a three. Colin Chandler made a three. LSU made a jumper. And it was just like back and forth, and they couldn't really like
It shows that
get
deep down, these guys do want to win because fans have called into question their actual how much they give a crap about the game, how much they give a crap about the season. An 18
facts.
point comeback that proves that those guys are competitive, they are D1 athletes, and they do care. So fans have that to hold on to, but it's just doing it at a consistent basis and doing it on the road to banner number nine. That's the only thing that can be called into question. Is this team still good enough to do it? Best comparison I can find is like this team, if I could compare it to a movie, is like Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, you know? Because
Yeah.
let me explain why. Because at the beginning of the season, beginning of the movie, Anakin Skywalker comes in. The team is Anakin Skywalker. Everyone thinks, oh, this guy's at the top of his game. He's going to do some great things at the end of the movie. And he has this girl that he loves and wants so bad. Banner number nine, Padme Amidala. And throughout the movie, throughout the season, some questionable decisions, some trying too hard, hurts himself, bad decisions at bad times. That's the team's coaching. That's the team's looking like they don't care. The team looking like some guys care too much while others don't care at all. And then by the end of the movie, Anakin Skywalker is chopped in pieces due to injuries. He loses his girl from trying too hard. The team full of injuries. Jalen Lowe out, Mo Diabate with his ankle every now and again. JQ with his knee that's been going on now. Because personally, I think he came back too early, and now it's going to lead to them losing their Padme, losing number nine.
Man, I don't I couldn't have put it any other way. That's an amazing little tidbit from AJ Nava there. For the Star Wars people out there,
And you know what? That movie makes me cry every time I watch it because I expect a
dude,
different
it's
outcome.
if you don't cry, you're not human. I think
And I feel like crying every time I think about how this season might end.
okay,
And
man.
that's just
You don't
that's just real.
believe. It sounds like you don't believe.
Kyle, I'm gonna be real. What do you think their ceiling is by the end of the
Man,
season?
that's the thing, because you don't know. You have no idea at all.
But it's
And
our
that's
job to have an educated guess through what we've watched, through the analytics, through the intense studying
educated
that we do.
educated guess.
That's all sports analytics is at the
I
end of the
think they
day.
can win 10, 11 conference games. I've stuck by that. I think they can do that. I think I can hit that mark. That would make you, if those wins come against marquee opponents and you don't lose to every single ranked team you play from here on out, I mean, they can make the tournament. There'll be a healthy amount of games over that 500 mark. And, that's enough to get in the tournament, a good SEC tournament.
Mhm.
That's what I'm expecting. But, going back to this LSU game, there's just things I want to point out. Number one, I thought we talked about Ortega Way very critically all year. And
Yep.
I know you brought this up to me, but we've kind of dogged on him and his character and what he really brings to the table. Is he Kentucky's leader? And now all of a sudden we kind of see, oh, okay, like he's really locked in. He's been easily, if not the best player in the SEC right now, he's at least top three minimum. He's been unreal. The ability to poke balls out, get out in transition, be able to play make as well, shoot the three, which I think a lot of people weren't expecting from him. Knock down three threes in crunch time on the
That's
road
just
when you're
clutch.
trailing. That's just clutch. And to his credit, I just think as the team's finding the identity, I think our answer has always been, well, you got to find your superstar. You got to find your guy no matter what. When you need a bucket, you need something to happen. We always knew it was Ortega, but they just had to get to that point without us, forcing it to happen, if that makes sense. So I'd say big credit to Ortega against his in his game against LSU.
Yep. He still has a great chance to win SEC player. So that's for sure. There's no question about it.
For sure.
Yeah. So I get the feeling that we're about to move on from men's basketball, but just before we do that, I want to mention just after the LSU game, I was on campus walking to class. I saw Malachi Moreno heading up the steps to the Funkhauser building. He was smiling ear to ear, big grin on his face.
Heck yeah.
Shout out Malachi Moreno. He deserved the little smile.
Oh yeah, for sure. I will say just before we move off men's basketball, so much of our content is just it's meant for Kentucky fans and people who grew up in Kentucky to feel centralized with this team.
Hmm.
The fact that Malachi Moreno is from Kentucky, I remember watching him in high school before I was even a journalist. I got to cover him in the state championship, and then to see him turn into a star right before our eyes. And then he posts on TikTok, just a
Dream.
Kentucky kid living the Kentucky dream.
Yep.
Oh, that made my heart
That's
just like,
story. That's storybook, man. That's beautiful. I know Georgetown was celebrating that shot. I know he did it for a great crossing. Like it's full circle. It's awesome. It's awesome to.
yeah, I love it. Um, so they have a bit of a daunting schedule coming up.
Hmm.
And you have Tennessee on Saturday. Me and you both will be there. You know that game's already going to be nuts. It's Kentucky, Tennessee. That's a big rivalry. That's one you kind of can't predict. That's one. It's like Steelers, Browns, Duke, North Carolina. Sometimes, every now and then, there's a better team, and it's evident. I don't think Tennessee's really put that much out there for me. I've seen them blow some leads. I've seen them miss some shots. They almost have Kentucky DNA this year. That's okay, but I think that calls for like a manu a manu game where
Yeah.
you can just see who wants it more, and both teams can go out there and just try and get a big time win. Because I think for both teams right now, you just need one. You need a rivalry win
Yeah.
to keep you going. For Kentucky, that's your third win in a row
That's
on the
big.
road at
That's
Tennessee.
huge.
That's big. And then you have Ole Miss at home as well, and I believe I hate to blank.
Winnable.
I hate to blank. I believe it's Texas, and I want to misspeak. So let me check real quick.
Yeah, get the schedule pulled up. You got it. You got it. No one remembers that off the
Yeah,
top
it
of
is
their head.
Texas. Yeah. So Tennessee, and then you host Texas and Ole Miss. Texas and Ole Miss have put together some decent games against ranked teams. Texas, especially, just beating Vanderbilt. Um, but when you're at home, when you're at Rupp Arena, you can really get one. Like it's easier than when you're on the road.
Yeah.
And after that, when I'm thinking, hey, you probably need to go on a 5-0 run there to like really get people to start talking about you. Be 4-2 in the SEC because you have games at Vanderbilt and at Arkansas. Those aren't winnable games. I'm sorry. Like
That
just
Vanderbilt game for sure is we could chalk that up. It'd be
yeah,
another Malachi miracle is what we'd need for Vanderbilt.
yeah. And you know how good Arkansas can be. Their pace is unreal. They've scored 100 points multiple times this year. They
Tough,
have some of
tough.
the best scorers in the nation. They're tough. And I think rounding out January, if Kentucky can somehow beat Tennessee, which I think they had the DNA to do it, you hold off at home against Texas and Ole Miss, maybe drop one of them. You have to beat Vandy or Arkansas, and that's a hard ladder to
Hard to
climb.
ask.
I understand it; it's a hard ask, but that's where they're at now. That's just kind of how it goes since you've lost some non-con games, and your record's probably not as pretty as everyone's expecting it to be so far. So tough gauntlet coming up for the men's, but I guess we'll see firsthand
Yeah.
how they do under the pressure.
It's doable to win, but it's way easier to end up going 9-9. It can happen at the snap of a finger. So it's really how they gotta take it game by game. And if you lose one of those easy ones, you gotta put it in the back of your mind, move on to the next. You got the help of BBN and Rupp for these ones, so use that, lean on that, and then best of luck on the road games.
For sure. Well, I will say one basketball team we haven't really had to worry about most of this year is the women's basketball team. I know I'm pretty sure the day our last podcast dropped, they played Alabama that night. They dropped that one on the road by 13. It was a bad loss. Everyone has a bad loss in them. We're not making excuses, but you're without Tiani Key, one of your best wing and post defenders, and that's kind of what Alabama was attacking. Offense wasn't really clicking against Alabama. It's okay. but I know you saw literally what 3 days later they get their second top five win of the season and beat
Yep.
Oklahoma at HMC. Like we're saying with the home court at Rupp Arena, home court at HMC is so evident for the women's basketball team now. Beat Oklahoma by 5. And then I want you to talk about it a little bit because you were there at the Florida game last night. Probably a little closer than it should have been, but still got, a little win streak going back up and everything seems okay for them.
Yeah, a little closer than it should be is an understatement for sure. I think if you had money on Florida getting close, I want to go with you to Vegas because even Vegas was
I
surprised how close that game was.
think the
Number
spread was 18 and a half, I believe, when I
yeah,
looked. So it was
so number
nuts.
seven Wildcats, with the acceptance of Tiana Key being out, there's really no reason that they should have been in that situation. It was the craziest sequence ever. I know that people who watched the game were blessed to see it live. Jordan Obi gets a clutch steal, and at that point, they were up only 1 point with about 50 seconds left on the clock. They get it down court. Tony Morgan was trapped on the wing, so they had to look to Asia Boone, who decides to just have her Kobe moment and goes pull up midi, laces it,
Here,
puts them up three,
I got
and
to get one out. Boo! Sorry.
and then very next play, they need a clutch stop. Florida draws an inbound to the corner, and Clara Strack uses her entire wingspan to just get up and block a corner three that basically seals the game because then they have to foul Kentucky. Asia Boone again laces more free throws, and it's it it was probably the most electric I had seen historic Memorial Coliseum in a while because fans were on their feet. It was amazing, but you have to look at they should have never been in that situation for Florida. The team
Right.
that this is, they just beat number five Oklahoma, and I will say that game that it was supposed to be a win. You can't follow that by almost getting beat by Shaq's daughter. That that's just a no thing because they started the game off how they were supposed to. They went 5 of 8
Yeah.
from three, and then uh, I'll say how Florida's coach said it. They played the numbers game. They knew that Kentucky was not going to keep that 3-point shooting going, and they were completely right. 2 of 11 over the next quarter, 7 of 23 over the next 3 quarters. And I will say officiating had something to do with the game. There were a few
Mhm.
questionable calls. A couple of blue and white bodies hit the floor without something to say. A couple of Florida players went up, didn't have much contact, but ended up shooting free throws anyway. So that had something to do with it as well.
Home whistle wasn't there, huh?
Home whistle was not there. But it just kind of showed that Kentucky really didn't have, I don't want to say a sense of urgency, but had some miscommunication, had some kind of what do we do in this situation kind of moments all the way
Hmm.
up until the final 2 minutes of the game. And it was real frustrating to see Kenny Brooks in the post game said the very first thing he said in his opening statement was, "I'm frustrated." Uh, and I don't blame the guy. I mean, you're top 10 school almost falling to an opponent who hasn't won an SEC game yet. So it
Facts.
was it was rough. So Kai, if you can find any silver lining from that, be my
Well,
guest.
I think it's just I've always been a guy who I get people want to live in the moment and it would be boring to be like just saying this all the time. But I'm always like, you need to lose now. I think I know they didn't lose, but like you need to have those close games. You need to have your games that build character. You need to sometimes get in the trenches and have to win one outside of, because when you go into a game, you're game planning to do something certain and you're trying to run all the plays that you've prepared in practice and yada, yada, yada. What if they have an answer for every single thing you do?
Hmm.
You have to go out and show you're just a better team in general and go win one. I think that's what they did against Florida.
Yep.
Like you're saying, Florida's coach played by the numbers. They played read Kentucky like a book on most plays. A lot of sloppy turnovers I saw from Tommy Morgan. They're reading her. And despite still having 13 assists, she could have had 20
Yep.
if Florida wasn't in there knocking them away. So I
She
really
could have had
feel
20
like,
if they had their offense communicating better because there were plenty of times where her and Jordan Obi weren't on the same page and they were kind of just jawing at each other. Tony had to wave
uh,
her off a couple of times. Uh, KK was definitely in her 14 minutes. There was some confusion on the court. There were a couple pick and pops and pick and rolls that weren't supposed to go the way they were supposed to. And one thing I want to bring up that you brought up was, oh, what if, they know the plays that you're calling? Kenny Brooks mentioned that exact same thing in the post game. That Asia Boone mid-range pull-up that I brought up, I asked Kenny in post, hey, was that the initial play call? Was that action? Was that find the best shot? And Kenny said, I'm paraphrasing here, he said, you know, we wanted to run sets and get Asia in action because most of the game we were calling plays and Florida was repeating our calls to us. They knew our whole playbook and
it's
exactly what you
nuts.
mentioned. And so it's insane to think that they had to put Asia in action and to get her that mid-range pull-up and
Right.
exactly what you just brought up.
I
It's
think I think it
better that they had it now.
it shows character to this year's team, and I think it's why we're getting a better form of Kenny Brooks's team in year two,
Hmm.
because we've always mentioned Georgia Amore. It's hard to ignore her stardom, but you kind of knew she was always getting the ball. You always knew
Yeah.
late, clutch, whatever the situation may be, Georgia's going to have the ball in her hands. Now it's kind of like that with Tony, but you have shooters around her. You
Hmm.
have people who can get in the post, people who can make a three, someone who can pull up confidently from mid range like Asia Boone. So,
You have the triplets who are all 6'4"
right.
plus shooters. Like
You have options now.
yep,
Um, and looking at the grand scheme of the SEC, Kentucky has Tennessee coming up. They have Vanderbilt coming up at the start of February.
yep.
There's going to be some very good games to really test if they can be, because I know they're fourth right now in the SEC. It's kind of what they broke at last year. I'd
Hmm.
like to see them be number two, number three, kind of break in and set their footing as one of the top dogs. That'd be nice because I think they deserve it. They've come a long way.
Women's SEC is stacked though. It's insane that
It's not
every game they
always,
face is a game.
I will say, like outside of South Carolina and Vandy, I don't think it's as strong as it used to be. I think, I don't want to discredit
Hmm.
LSU. I don't want to discredit Oklahoma, but I think Kentucky just caught them at the right time on the right night,
Hmm.
and they got those wins early. Now those teams are middle of the SEC, and it's kind of, it's weird to see LSU 2-2 in the conference. They don't lose much.
Yeah.
Um, so like I'm saying, I'd like to see Kentucky get their footing early and kind of maintain it as we get closer and closer to March. Final question before we get off here.
Yep.
Who had the better buzzer beater, man?
I was
I
gonna
gotta
ask you the
know.
same dang thing. I was gonna ask you. Uh, you know, I've mentioned before, I'm a Houston Rockets fan. I love James Harden. And for that reason, step backs have a special place in my heart.
Okay,
And
I see
that
where
and
we're
that's
going.
Tony Morgan, cross, cross. It was a little sidestep, step back kind of combo. Laced it for the win with point 0.1 on the clock. You can't beat that in my book. All
See,
kudos to Malachi, but Tony got it.
listen, I'll out myself here. I'm a little server.
Hmm.
I'm Kentucky games on it everywhere.
Yep.
Everybody's watching. Nobody cares that the ketchup's out or they need a refill on Pepsi.
Yep.
Everybody's watched the game, and with all eyes on every single TV in there, just a uproar of Kentucky fans, and you can't beat that. And
Mm-mm.
I will remember that moment probably for quite some time, writing the gamer, kind of tweeting about the game as it's going on. And I'm running to the back real quick. Malachi Miracle, man, you can't beat it. No
Can't steal
discredit
my
to
line. I
Tony.
just said you can't beat Tony. You can't steal my line.
Tony's was nuts though, just because I think it was the fact that it was like at LSU,
Mm.
and I know they played at why am I blanking?
What?
Who Kentucky just beat? I'm so tired. Men's
Who?
basketball.
Oh, Who Kentucky just beat? LSU.
Yeah. Oh yeah, same team. Stupid.
Yeah, that's why
No,
we're
but
talking about it.
yeah, so I think Tony's being against a better historic program
Mhm.
and just knowing that like you beat LSU, like you're gonna get some eyes on you. I know Lane Kiffin was being introduced there. They
Yeah,
walked him out and
spoiled
had
his
this
night.
big parade. I love spoiling his night.
Yeah,
So I think all those factors are better. I
yeah.
think
You
the
just kind of
shot,
proved my point
no,
that it was
listen,
better.
I think the shot was better that Tony made. But I think what it will mean in the long run for the men's basketball team is a whole lot more evident. But I think they needed to keep the momentum and the win streak alive just to keep things rolling into the slate. So that's the only reason I'm saying Malachi's is a little better. And just where I was at the time when it happened. Like I was watching Tony's on my phone on highlights. I didn't get to see it live. Malachi's I saw live, and I was just like, "Oh shoot!"
I mean, every point you said kind of helped me out, but sure. You know what? Everyone
Sure,
has their opinion.
whatever,
You
man.
you got hey, we'll let BBN decide whose was better. We
Yeah,
know we know Tony said she liked hers a little more. Clara straight up said into the mic, Tony. Just Tony's
yeah,
shot is better when they were asked about it.
I
So
love it.
hey, let's see what Ortega and Yelovich think at the presser today.
Yeah, so great little transition, but we'll be talking to Tegan Yelovich today. By the time y'all see this and are watching it, if you made it to the end, make sure to go over to Facebook and our YouTube channel. Make sure to check out those clips, what we asked the players today. And also by then, we're going to have a little breakdown of all the portal stuff going on with football, maybe some stuff you may have missed in week 2 of the portal. So we have a lot of content stored for y'all today. Once again, I've been Kyle McClelland with my man AJ Nava. Make sure to check out KY Insider on all socials. Also, go over to our website, kyinsider.com, for recaps on all the games and other play stories like that. And we'll see y'all in the next one.